Hello, hello, everybody. Today is a very amazing show. I've been watching all of the pictures as they have come in, and Dee has been being she's been being a pizza chef this week. So she's been twirling crust this week. I don't know if they're twirlable, but anyway, if you are on live, of course, would you do us a favor and type in the words #live and tell us where you're watching from. Also, another thing is we have an event coming up in Seattle, Washington. And so if you are in that area, it's primarily geared towards clinic coaches and owners. So if you are going to be at the Seattle Super Weekend, it's going to be on Friday afternoon, and it is in an Ideal Protein clinic that is in West Seattle. So we're super excited and thankful to Ideal Weight Loss and Wellness for hosting us. And so if you would like to get more information on that, just put in cooking class in the comment section, and I will make sure you get an invite. We only have room for about 15 guests. So anyway, Dee, welcome, and tell us what your weather's like. We always talk about the weather first.
It's trying to rain today. So you're very familiar with that. It's just, it is a little bit milder out today. The sun peeked out again. Mother Nature is she's all over the place in Alberta right now. Just crazy. We go from +16 to snow again and inches of snow. And then today it's cooler and trying to rain. So normal spring in Alberta.
Driving me crazy. It was pouring down rain this morning. I had to put on something very summery. I had to show my shoulders today because it's making me crazy. So if you're watching from a sunny location, would you do us a favor? Put in a sun emoji. Send us that in the comment section and tell us what part of the sunny world you are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so today we are going to be showing you some pizzas, and Dee has come up with several amazing options. So I'm going to put this right up here and switch us around here. And tell us about this crust.
So this crust would be aimed at quite a traditional pizza crust. So in the land of using protein powders as a base for your crust, this is what this is. So this pictured here is a plain pancake and a potato puree mixed together with a couple of whole beaten eggs and your daily oil allowance to create a batter to make pizza crust. The reason why I mixed the two products together was the pancake on its own is just too sweet. It's a little bit, the hint of sweetness is just too much for a traditional pizza crust. And the potato on its own was just a little too salty. So a little off as well. Marry them together and it has a wonderful flavor. Placed in the batter is also oregano because I just love those traditional pizza spices. They go very well within that batter. And the picture is kind of cropped, but I spread the batter. So I split it into 2 equal portions because I used 2 unrestricted packets, and then spread it into a nice pizza round on 2 different silicone baking sheets. And 10 minutes in the oven, 8 to 10 minutes. And it is firm enough to then add your sauce and toppings, and you can pop it back in the oven and broil for another 5 minutes, and it is wonderful. I forgot to take a picture once I had sliced it so that you can see the interior thickness of the crust and the texture of the crust. So it's in between a traditional rising crust and a flatbread. It's like right in between the middle. So it's quite a nice texture and thickness. So it does have a little bit of bulk to it. So it's definitely better than a flatbread. I did also do a version of a flatbread, which used less egg, which if you didn't want egg, you could also do that as well. But this version was definitely nicer once the sauce and the choice of veggies was added to this one. So, yeah.
Well, it looks absolutely fabulous and delicious. And when you're cooking up these recipes, I'm always like, why isn't she around the corner from me so I can stop over and sample? So if you are wanting these recipes, remember that our newsletter comes out on Mondays. So just type in the word newsletter into the comments section and you will get, you're going to get a little message in your Facebook Messenger. So all you have to do is make sure it's like a two-step process. So first you say, yes, I'm willing to have you send me the message. And then you're going to click the newsletter button, and that's going to take you out to the actual subscription form. Now, things to remember. Always check your spam and add our mail to your whitelist so that you always get our show. And another thing to think about is go onto the top of the low carb page. And then what you're going to see is not only where you say that you like our page, but where it says follow, click on follow and make sure you click see first. And that way, the minute we go live, you're going to see all of our recipes and our show and all of that. And number 2, would you do us a favor and hit the share button? This is going to be a really fun show and it applies to everybody. So this first crust that you just saw is, yes, it's a powder, a protein powder. And I think there's probably a lot of variety of products. I know that not everybody is on Ideal Protein, but you can try some other protein powders. But the next one we're going to do is all low carb. So we try to kind of go across the board. And today we're going to see vegetarian options and animal protein options. All right, Miss D. So we've seen the crust. And now talk to us about the marinara sauce.
So I love traditional tomato sauce, and that is what you see on the crust. So a complete tomato base with Italian spices. And you can have this. You can absolutely have this on any low carb program, low sugar program. Tomatoes naturally contain sugar. So when you're looking at making a fresh sauce, you're absolutely allowed to. You're just not going to add any sugar. And if you're buying canned tomato sauce, you need to know that it's absolutely an option. And so what you're doing is you're not just looking at the carbs and the calorie and the sugar content, because tomatoes have sugar. So there should be some on your nutritional label. You're going to want to look at your ingredients and make sure that it's just tomatoes. Following the tomatoes, there might be some spices and there might be some citric acid in the canning process. And all 3 of those types of ingredients are okay. Your ingredient list will just not contain any other type of added sugar or stabilizers or MSG. So you absolutely can use them. And there are so many great low carb tomato sauces already pre-done for you, already pre-spiced. So the good news is that if you're in a hurry and you don't want to make your some from scratch, that's okay. You don't have to. The other thing is there's a lot of chatter about how do you count tomato sauce. And I would encourage you all, so if you start with a cup of fresh tomatoes and blend it down and pour it back into your measuring cup, you really shouldn't be getting that much shrinkage at all. It's very, very close. So if you use a 1/4 cup of tomato sauce, count it as a 1/4 cup of your tomatoes for sure. Don't overestimate it though. So don't have more thinking that it's a less value, because it's not. It's very close to being equal. So just make sure that you track your use of your tomatoes. If you are on a low carb program such as IP, you do have a limit on those occasional veggies. So make sure you journal and respect that. And then if you're just on a different low carb program, just know that tomatoes naturally contain sugar. So you're going to watch your consumption on them. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I'm a tofu lover. I grew up vegetarian, and one of the things this week, there's a group out there called Ideal Protein for Vegetarians. And so the gal who started it asked me if I would move over and be the admin of that group. So I will be helping post a lot more over there. And so if you love vegetarian restaurant recipes, whether you're vegetarian or not, I just happen to have grown up that way. So I eat meat, but I kind of skew more towards about 80% of my diet being plant-based. And I am a tofu lover, and don't turn your nose up at tofu. Really try it, because it's amazing the recipes you can have with tofu. You have absolutely no idea that there's tofu in there. So Dee did this just for me. So I love that you're incorporating my favorite tofu into dishes. So let's tell us what's on here.
So this is definitely a vegetarian version of a pizza. I chose to do the faux feta cheese made out of organic fermented tofu. I have tried a few different varieties of making the faux feta, and anybody who is familiar with tofu, a lot of recipes will tell you to press the tofu, so on and so forth, and that's to remove the water before you are making the faux feta. But I want a faux mozzarella, like for pizza, and so the moisture in it is actually okay, because the tofu is grated, and then I season with oregano. You can use a little bit of oil, or you can just omit if you've already used it in your recipe. Lemon juice, apple cider vinegars. You're basically marinating your tofu, and the longer you marinate, then the more flavor the tofu takes on. The really neat thing about tofu is it does melt a little bit like cheese when you put it under the broiler, and adds some great texture to your vegetables. It really is a good substitute for cheese. And so pictured here, I did throw the veggies, except for the onions and the tofu on, threw it back in the boiler, under the broiler for a few minutes, and then just topped with some extra onions because I just like that flavor. And this picture right here, it was just like having real pizza. So that is it's another way I would definitely encourage you to try the faux feta made out of tofu recipe. And you don't have to commit. Buy a little package of tofu. The great thing about even organic fermented tofu is very economical. So if you don't end up loving it, you're not out the big bucks like on an expensive cut of protein. So I would definitely encourage you to try it. I'm going to give you a few recipe options to try the faux feta. There's a few different ways you can use it, and I'm learning how to use it too. I did not grow up eating tofu. It's a new ingredient. I was Alberta beef. I'm a farmer's daughter, so. But it's really fun to create and experiment with, and I love getting tips from people who use these ingredients more than I and can make great suggestions. And so lots of times once you try, it's really good. It's a great substitute too. And if you're looking for a lighter, sometimes we just need a lighter protein choice. Maybe our tummies do need a little bit of a break, or maybe you just like to change it up and do some meat alternatives, and this is great. I'm also a very huge fan of eggs. I actually feel very sad for anybody who has egg allergies, because they're nature's perfect food, and they're so versatile, and so that's another great choice. So
yeah, and honestly, I can remember the first time I talked to you about tofu, and you were like, "Yeah, no." So let's say hi to a couple people. Okay. We got West Virginia in the house. And
hello, JP. Hi,
and we got Karen.
Hello, Karen.
From Ontario. And we got Lynn from sunny British Columbia.
Nice.
And so Karen is #live from, she says she has sun in Iowa, and it's 67 degrees. Good for you. All All right, let's see. So if you are online, and thank you, Sandra, for sending us a heart. We love that. Alita is live from Buffalo, New York. So if you didn't hear earlier, do us a favor, and if you're someplace sunny, send us a sun emoji and tell us where you're at. And Deb says, yum. Ellen loves tofu.
Nice.
Holly is from Orchard Park, New York. So thanks, everybody. Make sure you hit the share button, the like button, the heart button. And remember that we are going to be in Seattle in 2 weeks. It's on Friday, April 12th. And Dee is going to be doing I guess Dee left me for a minute. Dee is going to be doing a live cooking event and shopping tour. So there she is. April 12th, and it's primarily to teach clinic owners how to conduct workshops in their clinics. But we're going to start with a grocery tour around 2:00. And Dee is going to be showing you all the produce and how to talk about produce and the meat counter, what to choose, spices, and all kinds of fun stuff. And then we're going to head back across the street to Ideal Weight Loss and Wellness in West Seattle. And thankfully, they are hosting our event, which is so sweet. Sean, thank you. And we are going to be doing a gummy making workshop. So you're going to get a gummy mold, a dropper. You're going to get to participate. We're going to be doing a cooking and baking with strange veggies. You're going to get to see how to do all of that. And of course, all the presentation and materials are included. So if you are interested in that cooking workshop, just say cooking workshop, and I will make sure you get all of that fun stuff. And info. Suzanne is from sunny Vancouver Island. Oh, it's so pretty there. Love. And Sandra says it's raining. Yep, that's what he said earlier. Okay, so moving on. All right, okay. You guys. Wow, so this looked delicious to me. How'd you make this chicken crust?
So it is actually so very, very simple. So that is ground chicken breast, and it is 7 ounces of ground chicken breast, 1 ounce of egg white, and seasoning. And I put oregano and garlic seasoning, and I just mix that all together really well. And then simply just using the back of a spoon, shape it into a pizza round on the silicone baking mat. And so I did put a little bit of, you don't have to, I just did for fun, is to just create the edge for a faux pizza crust design. And just the trick to this is you spread the ground protein just really, really thin, but just with no holes. So you go nice and thin, and then I simply just baked it at 375, 400-ish for about 20 minutes. And it, I should have actually I have one in the fridge. I should have grabbed it so I can just show you. I can 3D it for you, and it stays together nice and complete and intact. And what I did with this one is that I did a barbecue chicken pizza, except this time the chicken is in the crust, and then I did a sugar-free barbecue sauce over the base, and then added my veggies to that. And then actually when I was all done with my presentations, I did sprinkle a little bit of cheese over that and broiled it again for another member of my family who can have dairy right now. So very, very versatile. So any type of low carb program, a protein crust will work. And the really nice thing is if you wanted to choose this option for your supper, for example, between the egg white and the 7 ounces of your ground meat, there is your 8 ounces of a protein serving, and then you can load up the veggies to whatever meets your needs. And the barbecue sauce, you're completely allowed to have that. It uses all phase 1 friendly ingredients, and there's no sugar in it, so it's not a sweetener. So, yeah.
So one of the things I was going to ask you is, who ate the tofu pizza?
I did. I did.
I had a feeling nobody in your house was eating that.
No, I have fooled them. I have fooled them. It did pique their interest though, because I made a big batch of the faux feta. So it was sitting there in the bowl, and Kevin spied it right away, and he's like, "What is that?" Like, because it actually looks appealing, like it does look appealing. And I said, I did tell him the truth. I'm like, "It's tofu," and he just walks the other way.
So Deb asks, is it ground chicken breast? Is it cooked ground chicken breast? Is it cooked first?
No, I started with raw ground chicken breast. So that I can share. You can. So in the land of protein chicken crust now, there are so many. I'm going to be really truthful with you. I don't like 10-step directions. Like, I don't want to pull out the food processor and chop up cooked chicken until it makes a paste, and you add other ingredients to shape it down, because it's already cooked. When you use already cooked chicken and then you're re-cooking it or reheating it, it gets tough, it gets chewy to me. I always like to start whenever I can with the raw product. It's just easy. It's easy to add ingredients to, it's easy to add flavor into. And it's just a portion control also, like measuring your raw weight is so easy when you start with the ground raw product as well. I like to pre-weigh. So if I buy a big batch of any type of protein, I like to portion it out raw and pre-bag it so I know what I'm starting with. So this way it's really, really easy. And the ground chicken, I bought ground chicken breast. So I know that there's no other mystery parts in my ground meat. The background that I have, I actually also worked in a cattle slaughterhouse right on the line. And I know what goes in hot dogs, and I will never eat one again in my entire life. And I'm not even kidding you. And I'm not a squeamish girl, but I am really into quality versus quantity. So I don't want extra parts in my ground meat. So I like the pure product, and then I know it's a really lean product as well. So I know if, for example, with something like really lean ground chicken breast, that I'm okay if I have 7 ounces of raw ground chicken. I know it's not going to shrink by an inch or 2 inches or ounces, because there's so much fat or other particulates in that product. So I hope that helps a little bit. Like,
yeah. I with you. I want to know what's in my meat, and that's why I really and truly do buy organic. So we did talk about the sugar-free marinara sauce already. Mm-hmm. So here's a picture of that. So we got 2 more pictures. Now, is this uncooked? Is that this picture here?
Yep, that was uncooked. So that was showing my cooked chicken base. That one did have marinara. Another one has the barbecue sauce on it, piled on the veggies, just to show that you could throw that back under the broiler minus the onions. And then I think I give you another picture where I did put the cheese on for my son Max, because he can have that. So yeah.
Okay. And so we have one more here. By the way, Deb says she did her time in a slaughterhouse also. Yikes.
Yeah.
So this pizza is a barbecue chicken pizza. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, does this have some cheese on top?
Well, this one, so I also wanted to show, so for any of you that are already in phase 3 or 4 that are just low carbing it, this is a perfect example as well. So we really do cater to, ideal protein phase 1 program users, but I want to cater to the rest of you that are just doing low carb options as well, to show you the transition. Here is what a phase 1 version is. Here's a phase 3-4 version for you. That's simple, because eating low carb and low sugar for the rest of your life is going to be a goal, and then just adding some other yummy ingredients to it is also an option. What's really cool about these types of pizzas too is we're just dipping into the options that you could do. So a traditional barbecue chicken pizza, I'm going to put cilantro in there, and I'm going to put a ton of green peppers and onions for myself. So if you think of what I really wanted to do, and I didn't get to last night, guys, was I wanted to show you like a smorgasbord of low carb, low sugar toppings is what I really wanted to show you. But I know you'll get a pretty good idea here of things that you can do with low carb pizza options. So.
So let's talk about some of those toppings. So what would your advice be in that area?
So I would get my phase 1 sheet out if you are on program, and I would look at your occasional and select veggie list and design pizza. So the next picture of pizza that you're going to see is a Mediterranean version, because I love all those flavors. So you're going to have, you can have your basil and your spinach or basil or both, and tomato. And if you're in phase 3 or 4, you can add your olives, because it's a healthy fat. All the pictures that you see here, they're actually missing additional protein on the top. So you can have real lean ham, real lean chicken. You could have shrimp. You could make a fish pizza. There's no limits on your flavor combination. So it's a really good one to do, for family meals too, because you can customize yours to suit your need, and the rest of your family can. It's just kind of like pizza to me is like Taco Tuesday. I wish there was a day. I wish there was a day of the week that started with a P, because it would be pizza, because it's so versatile and really filling as well. And the great thing about some of the options that you see here too, I'm going to give you some variations on how to make that crust. So if you like those crusts pictured, it's an 8 to 9 inch pizza round. It's a decent serving to build your veggies on top. So you could have, it's an unrestricted packet and 2 cups of veggies for lunch, and you could repeat that at supper time, and you haven't even used hardly any of your protein for the day, just a little bit of egg in your batter. So if you're a hungry protocol user, this is a great way to bulk up your meals. And I'm a very visual person. I like to eat my food versus drinking my food. We're not all like that. But I want to give you some, so I want to give you some presentations where, it doesn't matter what phase you're on. We can adapt recipes to make it work for you. Yeah. Awesome,
absolutely.
Peggy.
And so Anna has a question. She says, so is it okay to broil the onions or just in phase 3 and 4?
So just in phase 3 and 4. I had mentioned earlier that those were put on after broiling, or if you were in phase 1 or 2, you would add them after that you're done broiling. So onions are allowed, but raw only, as cooking or broiling or sauteing them caramelizes them and brings out the extra natural sugars. So we're going to avoid that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I did want to just bring this up for you guys to take a look at. Here's the low carb cooking page, and if you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit the like button right here. And then when you click on the follow button here, you want to make sure you've clicked on see first. One of the new things that we have is we've got our events tab. So, you can click on the events tab and you can see what's upcoming. So on April 12th, Dee is going to be in Seattle. I will be with her. And so that's primarily for clinics. But if you're local, come on out and join us. And then right here under the shop tab, we now have some kitchen tools that that Dee uses. So these are some mats that I've just posted here that you can bake on. And then, of course, the gummy molds that Dee uses for the gummy show. Anything that you haven't seen, go out here to either live videos or videos, and that's where you're going to find those things. If you want to look at past shows, you can also go to our YouTube channel. And then, just little utensils here. Oops, I didn't want to click on that. But anyway, that's what that is. And then say that you are looking for some recipes. look on the photo tab and you're going to see all of the different albums. So, like you're going to see, let's see here, albums. I know I should be able to just do this, huh? But this is more like in my mode where I'm creating albums. So anyway, there's albums out here, you guys. And each of the albums here, here's the low carb pizza album. So you can click on the albums, and I try to keep it categorized by the different kind of show that we're doing or the foods. And then you can see what they are. And then after we get the newsletter out, we make up recipe cards. And so then you're going to be able to, go in and take a look at some of the different shows that have their recipe cards, and you can download those and you can print them. So just trying to remember that we're like a two-guy operation, and then we have Melissa who tries to support us as much as possible with her busy schedule. So you can see here in the Valentine's one, you get to see all the pictures from that show. And then later on, we go in and then we add the recipe cards, and you're able to print those. So just trying to, if you haven't filled out our survey, please fill out our survey. That's really how we're able to, really kind of help you guys or do as much as we can to get you guys the recipes as fast as possible. And always know that you can click on our blog, and it'll go out to all the recipes. And again, that's another place where you can print recipes from. So lots of different ways to get our recipes. But if you are interested in this week's recipes and you're not on our newsletter list yet, be sure that you type in the word newsletter. If you want to come to Seattle, type in cooking class or Seattle. I'll give you that information, or just send me a private message. It's also on our page as an event. You can RSVP and buy a ticket there. So, all right. Any last minute tips? I know we're kind of going over showtime as usual.
We are, and we missed it. We missed a crust in there. So there's a third one in there that is cauliflower and potato puree.
Oops. Okay.
That's okay.
My fault.
That's okay.
Add it to the photo group.
Yeah, we'll get it in there, and then it is a cauliflower crust version, but it does also have the IP potato puree, which you can also sub out for some other things. So we'll give you that recipe too. It's okay. There's a lot. We could have done a whole hour show on pizza and still barely cover. So just know, guys, we'll give you like 3 different versions of crust recipes that you could really turn into about 6 different versions of crust recipes. And I'm going to give you a sugar-free barbecue sauce recipe and a sugar-free tomato sauce recipe. Plus, I'm going to re-give you the faux feta. So watch for all those. And then once we get those all up and out, if you guys have any questions or substitutes and things like that, we'll help you a little bit more with those.
Awesome. Okay. And, there's different versions of newsletter that I've tried to complete, but Julie, go in and type it as all one word, and then it'll come to you. Sometimes I try to get every version that people put up there.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. It's been a great half hour to spend with you. Remember, we're here every Wednesday. Do us a favor before you leave the show. Hit the share button and share it out to the world. And M says, great show today. I want to try making pizza. I love pizza. I normally take the toppings off the pizza, but I would love to make and eat this. Well, you know what? And another thing that we would love for you to do is go in, and when you make something, post it so that we can see. And if you're not a part of Dee's Recipes group, get over there. There's a very interactive, and a lot of people are posting their versions of Dee's Recipes, which is super fun. And so love it. All right, Dee, as usual, my friend, have a fabulous week, and we look forward to your creations next week.
Sounds awesome.
Night, guys.
Thanks, everybody. See you next week.